finding success as a freelancer, finding clients consistently, it all comes down to crafting the right offer and knowing how to sell that offer to your target client. Freelancers that are really struggling, typically, they don't have the right offer. The pricing associated with what they're offering as a service, associated with their portfolio and their skill set, doesn't add up. It doesn't all line up. And that's why there's struggle. And usually that freelancer doesn't know what is wrong. Is it the price? And sometimes they'll just keep adjusting the price, but they don't adjust their offer. There's a couple of different nuances here that we need to discuss. So we're going to get into pricing today. This will be a pricing training, but it's going to be stitched to creating the right offer for your freelance service. It's certainly not going to get so in depth that every freelancer in every situation can now build out their entire packages perfectly, because I can't possibly do that in a short YouTube video. But this will give you a really great starting point in trying to figure that out. If you're a new freelancer, certainly this would be helpful to you, but also if you've been freelancing for a while and you just feel like you're not quite growing in the way that you want to, you're not finding clients consistently enough, you're not convincing enough clients to hire you, and you just want to increase your income, this will also be helpful to you to be able to take a step back and figure out what you need to rework with your packages, with your pricing, and with your offer. So let's get to it. So first, I wanted to show you my offers in my freelance business that I have going on right now, and how I've priced them and how I've figured out that pricing. And just so you know, the overarching goal should be for you that you are working towards flat rate packages. You can always offer hourly as an option. I still offer hourly as an option. I have some clients that pay me for hourly consulting, but it's a small percentage of the work that I get in the form of flat rates. And whether you're still in the zone of only charging hourly or not, you're still going to figure out some things in this video that's going to help you. So on this, so this is my website. Airlight Video is my company, and I encourage you that if you are forming your own freelance business or already in one, that you form an actual company name, you create an LLC. You've got to have that separation. You can't just be a solo freelancer going under your own name and not having a company. Of course, on Upwork, you're going to be under your own name, but that way when I send people my packages, it has this company logo and name attached to my offers, which just legitimizes it a lot more. It makes it have higher perceived value, and that just makes a big difference. So my current offering, aerolightvideo.com, you can go and check it out yourself. My packages and pricing, I offer different forms of video strategies for somebody's marketing, in their content marketing. And so I do YouTube strategies, I do social media strategies. And here's the packages that I offer. So I have clients that pay me to build out a YouTube channel strategy. And that basically includes, if you click here on the more details, it leads to a PDF. Now, when I'm applying to a job on Upwork, I share a Google Doc version of this PDF in my proposal so that the client can go and view that and comment on that if needs be, or if I have to adjust anything. But this is just the PDF outline that is attached on my website, but it's the same one that I give clients on Upwork. So it's got my logo on the top, so it makes it look more official. It explains, I have my name, my website, it has the price, and it explains in detail what they're going to get with this $1,200 deliverable. Where are you now? What are your capabilities? These are all the sections of a Google Doc that I give them as their completed strategy. And this has made it very, includes a 45-minute call afterwards. This basically takes away a lot of the questions. A lot of times the interview process will stretch out longer, or a client you have to make it as easy as possible for the client to know what value you offer, because then it makes them more willing to want to hire you. If you are making it difficult for them to have to keep asking a bunch of questions to fish for more details on what you're providing in your service, it's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth, and they're going to have a lot lower chance in wanting to work with you, because you're already sucking out a lot of their time just in the interview process. So this, my potential clients that I've met with, and then the ones that have hired me, have also always appreciated how detailed this is. This is an extension of my proposal. It's what I'm proposing to them. This is the offer. This is the description of the offer of exactly what's included for $1,200. All right. Now, going back to my website, I have an audit version of that, same price. Then I have a social media video strategy, also the same price, just a different deliverable. And then a video content marketing strategy. So this is my higher end package that's more complete. It's not just for somebody's YouTube channel. It's for their social media, their website, their blogs, their email marketing, everything related to how they're going to use video to grow their business is all in this package for $2,100. And as you can see, it looks kind of similar, but it's got different sections in here that have additional content from just the YouTube only strategy. And so it's a longer deliverable. It takes me a little bit extra time. But as you can see, $1,200 versus $2,100, this is $900 more, but it only takes me maybe an additional 2 hours, but the value is higher. So I was able to charge more. So this is why you need to start thinking about how you're going to get into doing flat rates, because for this initial strategy package, which is a pretty typical kickoff package for me with a new client, they'll hire me for this initial strategy, and then a good portion of them, usually half, will go forward in having me work with them ongoing, either by managing their YouTube channel, managing the video part of their social media, or consulting with them on an ongoing basis. And so these kickoff packages are a way for me to almost audition for a long-term client relationship. But with these kickoff packages, $1,200, it usually takes me on average about 3 hours of my time. I've had some simpler ones take as short as 2 hours, but typically it's 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours. And so if you're going to do the math on that, if it took me 4 hours, I'm still walking away with $300 an hour. My consulting rate is $300 an hour if I'm getting on a live call, but most clients only pay me for the asynchronous consulting and coaching, which is $225 an hour. So again, the YouTube channel strategy most of the time only takes me 3 hours, which means I'm getting $400 an hour for the time I'm spending, but I'm delivering something that to the client is $1,200 worth of value. And every client, I've sold so many of these over the last couple of years, but it's also evolved and it's changed, and I've improved it and improved it and improved it, because it's like I would have a few clients who would pay for it, and then I would all of a sudden have a client that had some negative feedback of something they wish was in it. And whenever I'd hit a client that pushed back and felt that they didn't get their money's worth fully, I would take their feedback, I would improve upon the strategy for them before I would charge them. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to keep working on this until you're satisfied. And then I would take that improved version as a model for the next strategy. And then typically I'd go another few clients without any complaints and just good reviews. And then I'd hit another client who then had some feedback, and I had to work it again. Now, sometimes after doing this a couple times, most of the improvements did not require extra time on my end. It just required me approaching the strategy a little differently, or altering how I communicated something or how I structured the content in the strategy. Now, there was a couple of times throughout the evolution of this package where where it ended up causing me to put in more time to the strategy, where now it's going to take me an additional 30 minutes for every strategy I do because of this extra thing the client wants. So that's when I would then go and adjust my pricing. So I'd go in, and this used to only be about $400, and it was $500, then $750, then $800 something. And then eventually I jumped from like $900 to $1,200. I tried to go above $1,200 to $1,500. That was a struggle. I had a couple people pay me for that, but I could tell there was a little more uneasiness from the client side as far as them feeling like they got their money's worth. So then I went ahead and reduced it back to $1,200, which I was perfectly fine to do because, again, I was only putting in 3 to 4 hours of my time. And so, but I said I wanted to see how high I could get with it, right? Because there's nothing wrong with that. That's how you grow your business. You keep upping how much profit you're able to get. But as long as the client can keep seeing value in what they're getting from it and they feel like they got their money's worth, then you're still okay. And you don't need to change anything there. So yeah, this is just a good example of I have these initial kickoff kind of strategy packages, but then I have an ongoing management package that is usually what I try to push people into in order to have that long-term client relationship and recurring revenue for me. But then I also have this consulting option. I have clients that just want to pay me for one-off calls or a couple hours of consulting or a monthly consulting check-in type of thing, in which case they're usually paying me hourly. If it's a monthly recurring consulting, usually we figure out some kind of flat rate in which I'm able to then get a little bit more. But when it comes down to crafting the right offer, everything I just said is kind of what feeds into that. That you're constantly going back and forth with this feedback loop with the client. And whenever you get negative feedback, you take that seriously so that you can keep crafting and improving your offer until there's a match where the pricing matches the value you're delivering and you're having satisfied clients. And then you're good to go until you get a client that now I wouldn't recommend continuing to rehash the same thing over and over again until you get a complaint. It's usually best that after a couple of months you revisit your packages and you just think through yourself. You put yourself in your client's shoes and you think through how you can improve your deliverable, how you can improve your skills, your process, and don't always wait for a client to complain before you look at improving things. That maybe you can beat them to the punch. And when I've done that, I've been able to go a longer stretch before I got a complaint because almost I beat them to the punch and I was able to make those improvements before I got a complaint. But even though those clients complained, in the end, they still left me a good review because I was willing to adjust and improve the strategy and improve my deliverable until they were satisfied. And then I took that as a model for the next client so that I'd make sure I was getting my money, that I was earning enough money for the time I was putting in. So when you're making that switch from hourly to flat rate, I have some other videos on this that you can go check out. And I'll try to put in the description below some links to other videos where I do a lot more math regarding hourly versus flat rates. Ultimately, the direction you want to go in is to work towards flat rates. I'm going to go to my Upwork profile real quick. So Upwork, obviously, they have an hourly thing attached to your profile. Upwork is very much a default hourly type of platform, but then they offer flat rates and they allow you to put in flat rate projects into your profile, but you have this default hourly rate. And the psychology of the hourly rate is that if you're trying to get all of your gigs through the hourly rate, clients, ultimately all they care about is that the dollar amount they're spending is equal to the value they're getting back. And sometimes it's hard for them to gauge that when they're just hiring you hourly because they don't actually know the total dollar amount they'll end up spending on you. So there's a lot more uncertainty around hiring you and ultimately more risk, and ultimately sometimes it's harder to get hired when you're only offering that hourly rate. But if you can pitch a flat rate project version, a projectized version of your services, usually you can get more clients that way and then you can end up earning more money. But here's what you need to do before you offer that flat rate. You have to collect data and use different apps to time yourself on how long it takes you to do certain tasks. When I used to do video editing, I had to time myself on how long it took to edit certain styles of videos and the lengths of those videos. And then I had a time log of how long it took to edit. And then I was able to craft a flat rate offer for that type of video based on how much money I wanted to earn per hour. And then I was able to tack on some extra profit to that and actually go above that minimum hourly rate until the point where I could no longer sell it. It was like, okay, how high can I go? And the client still feels like they're getting value. Sometimes there's just some experimentation in that. There's some market research you can do of other freelancers, what they're charging. But ultimately, you'll end up finding that right price where you will likely and hopefully be earning more than your normal hourly rate, but you're offering just a fixed rate for that thing, and you've reduced the risk for yourself by having all those time logs keeping track of how long it takes you to do certain tasks. You've got to get that data, or you're just going to be taking stabs in the dark and you'll offer a flat rate and then you'll end up walking away with $5 an hour, but you're hoping for $50 an hour because you weren't sure how long it was going to take you. Now, the last thing I'll discuss with the flat rates and figuring out the right offer for that is, again, hopefully you've kind of picked up on the fact that there's a lot of back and forth with the client to figure out the right offer. You have to ask them questions. You got to research. You got to talk to them, and you really just figure out what they want and what they're expecting for spending a certain amount. And it's going to also change depending on the target client. If your target client is a brand new startup business that's really conservative with their budget, they're going to have a harder time spending a certain amount of money on something than a large corporation will. So your target client also really affects the pricing that you can offer and get away with as well. Now, the last thing with the flat rates is, with those time logs, is that it's an ever evolving thing. And the psychology of the hourly rate is that typically that client also will start comparing your hourly rate to their own, if they're getting a salary in the company they're working for, or their own employees. And they keep forgetting that employee wages are way different than a freelancer's rate. A freelancer has to charge a lot more, often double, for the same job for the hourly rate versus the wage, because you are also spending a lot of time in your own business on administrative tasks that you're not getting paid for. And you are covering your own healthcare and benefits and everything else. So you have to charge more to cover all of that. And in the end, the client will end up spending less on you than they will an employee, because they don't have to give you a minimum of 20 hours or 40 hours or whatever. They can pay you for 2 hours a week. And so in the end, most jobs these days, companies will actually save money hiring freelancers versus employees. But if all you're doing is offering an hourly rate, they're going to keep just in their head comparing it to their employees' wages. It's annoying, it's stupid, but that's what they tend to do. And then they think you're charging too much. But that's why you've got to really attach the dollar amount to what you're offering. So any questions about this, please let me know in the comments below. If you want me to help you optimize your profile or your proposals and work with you more directly, check out a Freelance Family Man membership, which is a group coaching type of setting where once a month we get on a call, but throughout the month I give you support in the coaching group, where you can ask questions and I'll respond to those questions. And there's a ton of course training material that you can go through as well. And it's only $59 a month. You can cancel at any time. There's a ton of value. I tried to make it as affordable as possible because I know what it's like to be in your situation where you're just getting started. You just don't have much you can spend on the education, but you need the education to get the skills to be able to find more clients. I also have a course that's only $7 that just helps you to revamp your Upwork profile. So go ahead and just check those out in the link below if you want additional help beyond what I can do through these YouTube videos. And be sure to let me know of topics that you want me to make more videos on, because it's you that guides the content of this channel and what it is that you need. I'll see you next time.